All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this year's TKC business meeting. I'm glad you were able to join us virtually since, sadly, we weren't all able to connect in Austin. It's kind of interesting, just kind of my history with the TKC. So 2 years ago, when I took over and became chair-elect, I was not able to attend NASPA due to the snowstorm in Philly. Last year, when I became chair, we had the fire alarm go off in LA, and so the business meeting was cut short. And this year, we're all remote connecting. So clearly, I'm just not allowed to have this business meeting and attend in person. That's just one of those things, I guess, is just not in the cards for me. So thank you all for attending. We're just going to cover some brief things that we covered the past year, kind of the goals moving forward. And then hopefully we can do a Q&A with our new chair-elect James, who officially starts, and can talk with him as we move forward. So as I mentioned, we're going to just do a wrap-up. I want to just kind of cover everything from the year, move into next year, have that Q&A, and then I want to open it up to all of you. So again, thank you for attending, just to kind of see what's on your mind and ideas and requests that you might have for the TKC as we move forward. I think it's important to connect with everybody and see if there's anything that you want to get from the TKC in the upcoming year. So looking back on the goals that I set last year and looking at what we wanted to accomplish, really the big thing that I had on my plate was wanting to find all the old documents and rescue them. So what I meant by that is over the years, through different transitions and different circumstances, we had TKC kind of documents and history all over the place, and it was actually getting really difficult to track that all down. So I spent a lot of the year trying to find the old documents, the old logins, usernames, some of that history, and get that into board effect, which is what NASPA uses for organizational purposes and transition. So I've been able to kind of hunt some of that stuff down, change some permissions on things, and I think we're in a really good place now to have that foundation. It was one of the priorities that I really wanted to set, because as we kind of keep going year to year, I'm a logistics guy, and so I wanted to make sure we had everything kind of in that form, that it won't get lost as we have different roles transition in and transition out. Along with that came some new roles for the leadership board. So looking through some of our needs, looking back at some of the ways that the TKC leadership board was organized in the past, and roles that kind of existed and then fell away. One being the webmaster role. So that's posted. You may have seen we shared out a bunch of openings that we have. And so I'll talk about that a little bit later, but just trying to get people set up in the right positions for success on the leadership board and really help NASPA and the TKC accomplish its goals with those defined roles. I think the biggest thing that I'm excited for was basically the moving forward with the journal. It's been kind of stuck in this mystery land for a few years now, and I'm happy to announce that thanks to Liam coming in as our editor-in-chief, we have accepted manuscripts. They've been edited. We're working with NASPA now through the publication process. It was kind of difficult to figure out how we were supposed to get this published, because it's been so many years since it was established. There wasn't even really the history of here's the next steps to take. So big thank you to Liam, and really we've been trying to dig in and now have a path to move forward with. I'm super excited that we will indeed have a first published copy of the journal. It was the goal to have it actually for the conference. Obviously, the circumstances across the country and across the world have changed, so there's been some extra time delays in trying to get it actually to that published state, but things are still moving forward, and I'm super excited that, at some point here we will have this thing published. It'll be out there, and then we can start the process all over again and start accepting manuscripts and really get excited that this thing has been launched off the ground after so many years, and so many people have put the effort in to make this a thing. So thank you, all of you, if you had any involvement, if you submitted a manuscript, if you have interest in submitting for the future, we do appreciate it. And this was really one of those key things that in all of my time with the NASPA TKC over the, I want to say 8 years, 9 years, something like that, seeing this come to life is just as exciting after we saw the technology competency become, an actual thing you can hold, that tangible item, so to speak. Another big thing was the new content management system for NASPA. So it was really exciting to get away from the old content management system that gave a lot of problems, had a lot of interesting issues that we would run into. We are now 100% in the new content management system. There's still updates coming. I know the roster feature right now is not automated. That will hopefully be becoming automated again to try and get some things fixed there. And really, it's a much better interface for different users to get content out there. So I'm really excited that that transition happened. Our TKC page was used a lot in the examples for the training videos. So that was a great thing to be able to showcase us as well. And I'm happy to say that it's so far haven't run into any major bugs. And I think it'll just be another great platform for us to think about and utilize moving forward. So what am I thinking for this next year? Ultimately, the website was ported over. And if you spent any time on the TKC website recently, it looks a little weird. Everything was ported over as is from the old site. And there's some things now that we need to address. It doesn't look the greatest. It doesn't have that functionality. So it's time to redesign the website within the new platform, which is why we are currently searching for a webmaster to kind of take that challenge on. So if it's something that you're interested in for the website, for the TKC, that position is posted out in Volunteer Central. I'd love for you to apply, and we'd love to get you on the team. Kind of rolling with the website, one of the issues we had with the old one was it was very difficult to post a blog. The blog posting process was challenging. Some people had some serious technical issues getting in and getting out of the blog system. So restarting the TKC blog, we're looking for authors. We want to get your content out there. We want to revitalize the blog as a whole. Process is a lot easier when it comes to getting that content in there and getting it linked across not only to the TKC page, but depending on what your topic is, there's actually a great way now that you can cross post content with different organizations. So different regions, different KCs, different topics that apply throughout all of NASPA's website. So a better chance for readership and just ultimately a better interface to work for. So if you're able to have ideas, you want to participate, you want to submit something for the TKC blog, please feel free to reach out to me and we can start kind of getting things scheduled to be able to get that content out there. My biggest goal right now is fill all the open positions on the leadership board. So due to a lot of different circumstances, most of our regional rep positions are open. A lot of people jumped into PhD programs, and a big round of applause for people taking on that challenge. Obviously, that takes a lot of time away that you don't have to dedicate to the TKC. So we did have some situations where our regional reps just couldn't do the duties anymore. We had a few people that changed different roles in higher ed. Some people left higher ed. So all those different changes, we do have openings. I want to say it's regions 3 through 6. So all of those are open. They are posted on Volunteer Central. So again, if you're in one of those regions and you'd love to join the TKC board, we'd love to have you. Please visit Volunteer Central and get your applications in. Another position that we have out there besides the webmaster is really the webinar and publications coordinator. So we are looking for someone to take charge of the annual webinar that the TKC is able to put on for NASPA, as well as just handling some of the details of the publication aspects that come around every year. So that could be connected to the TKC recommendation that goes into the annual program for the conference. We actually have the TKC or the KC publication article as well. So if you're like to do writing, if you like to coordinate that type of work, we'd love to have you as well. So please jump on to Volunteer Central. You can also check out the TKC blog post that I just put up. It's being shared as well through social, and I think it's out in the Facebook group right now. Click through there. All the postings are there, and you can link directly out of there to Volunteer Central. Another kind of goal of mine is to update the strategic plan. So we've have this document that was kind of started. It's in draft form, and I guess really it's always kind of in draft form to work with NASPA and to make sure that the TKC has a strategic plan that aligns with NASPA's overall strategic plan. So it is time to jump back into that this year, make some changes, make some updates, and really make sure the work that we're doing directly correlates with the work that NASPA is doing. So you'll see that coming through probably an email to the membership. Leadership will be taking a look at it as well, just to make sure that we get everybody's feedback and kind of figure out what direction we want to take, right? A lot of my time has been spent kind of rebuilding the kind of base of the TKC, making sure we have some of the logistics in place. And now it's really time to look to all of you and find out, where do you want to go with the TKC? What do we want to do as a whole to help out student affairs, to help out higher education, and just kind of drive some of NASPA's mission and goals home as well. The last one, prepare for seamless transitions in leadership. So as I mentioned, trying to track down some of these job descriptions and trying to track down these kind of base documents, logins, everything. I'm working on kind of my own transition document for the chair role, basically wanting to make sure that some of these things aren't lost, that some of the language is still there and it makes sense as people transition in and out of roles. I'll be expanding that as well to the other leadership roles, to have people generally just put down some of the things they're responsible for, and we can get that kind of worked into the job descriptions for each role. I think it'll be really helpful. Some KCs have really beautiful transition guides that they've been using for years, and I think that's one thing that the KC really needs to have, is some way to transition across and just make sure, as people come and go and roles change in higher ed all the time, if somebody does have to step out of a role, we can get somebody new into that position and transition them as seamless as possible. So those are kind of the goals that I'm looking for the TKC over this next year. And luckily, now we have James on board as our chair-elect. And so I see, James, you're on the call, which is great.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize. I had a time zone challenge problem, and so I'm running an all-staff meeting for my staff at the same time as we're doing this. But fortunately, there was a breakout session, and now they're in a bunch of Zoom rooms, and I'm here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, James, for making the call. And I want to just give a big congratulations to James. So he is our chair-elect. That title and role has officially started. It would have started basically at that transition point at the annual conference. So I figured we'd just take some time to kind of do a Q&A with James and just give him a chance for him to talk about himself and let him know why he's here, what he's doing, and then give you all a chance to ask some questions as well about either James or myself or the TKC as a whole, and kind of wrap up our time today. So James, are you all set to do a little Q&A?
Sure, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, so just to kind of start off with the basics here, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a IT professional by training. I started out in software development, but I spent about half my career in the private sector with Pearson, who's a publisher, and in the not in the higher ed space, but in the K through 12 space with them for curriculum and student information systems. But the other half of my career I've been in higher ed, and most of it I spent as a director of IT for university housing at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, which is a pretty large operation. And over the last several years, like many campuses, Urbana decided to put their resources and auxiliaries and then student affairs together from an IT perspective. And so I moved from housing to leading IT for student affairs. And at Illinois, we're supporting about 1,300 full-time staff in student affairs, because the auxiliaries are part of that. And I have a team of just under 50 people that help do that work, with everything from software development to desktop support to field support, infrastructure. As many large public institutions, we have a decentralized campus So there have been attempts to have a more centralized IT focus that really haven't taken hold. There's still strong, what I'll call edge IT units, and we're one of those. When I was in my housing role, I spent a lot of time with Akuho and trying to work with the IT uh, group there, which had gone through some changes over time. It's now part of the business operations focus at Akuho. But when I shifted over to my student affairs role, I started getting more involved with NASPA and have been attending NASPA National for about 3 or 4 years now, and becoming more involved with the technology knowledge community. I have, I had, I saw an opportunity in that there was not a clear person in the ranks that was looking to become the next chair. And so without a clear person, I thought, well, maybe that could be me. And so here I am. And a lot of background in organization, a lot of background in national groups like EDUCAUSE and Akuho. So I'm hoping I can bring some of that experience and help out here.
Awesome. That's so great. And we're excited to have you. I know I've worked with you over the past couple of years here, and I think this will be a great opportunity, especially to kind of move the KC kind of into those next steps. And I guess kind of transitioning through that, what do you see kind of as your goals or mission in the chair-elect role for the next year?
So job number one is helping Jeremiah define things so that as we shift leadership, as much can be defined as possible so that we're leaving a legacy to future leaders to be able to just move the TKC forward as opposed to figure out how things are supposed to be organized. That always takes time. Job two would be supporting his efforts on our strategic planning area, because that will help give us a path to follow. When we're looking around and saying, what should we do next? That's what you have a strategic plan for. Things that I'm interested in that will follow along after those two important things are done are membership recruitment, how we can get the regional component of this a little bit broader depth, because that's where we would find national leadership from in the long run. We would hope to have at least 3 or 4 people in each region that are interested in organizing on the national level. And the fourth thing is I really feel the thing that I got excited about and started thinking about when I applied for this is providing student affairs leaders, the VPs and the vice chancellors, a tool for assessing their technology organization. We have the competencies which were developed to help student affairs staff understand what they need from a technology standpoint, but there aren't a lot of tools out there. They're mostly ad hoc for leaders of student affairs organizations to figure out whether they have the right kind of investment in technology resources, whether they're doing it themselves through an organization like mine, or whether they're getting it from other units on campus, a central IT or otherwise. And so that would be the thing that I'd like to see developed. When I'm walking out the door, I hope something like that is available for those leaders.
Awesome. That sounds great. And yeah, I'm excited as well that that's kind of the next focus. When I came in as chair, my goal, as I mentioned, was to just kind of rebuild the foundation. And being in a chair role for 2 years is not a ton of time, but I'm hoping that this year we get that completed. As it passes on to James, then he can continue on with that stable foundation and get things moving and really kind of bring some light back to the TKC. I know last year I mentioned kind of the TKC 3.0, and I think that's still one of the big goals, right? Is we've got a new web presence. Once we get that kind of moved around and cleaned up, bringing the blog back and providing that content, really taking a deep dive into some assessment tool for the technology used on campus, and really just kind of bringing everything together with the competency, with the journal. I think we're at a great place to finally tie it all together. Over the years, we've had to do a lot of kind of, here's our mission, goal number one, pushing and getting this competency. And then it was establishing the basis for the journal. And so I feel like we've always had kind of this one priority we've had to tackle. And we're I think finally at that place where we can tie everything together and move forward and really kind of start to expand and explore in the areas that really deserve our attention. So I'm super excited that we're going to be able to do that together. And then just kind of a fun question on here. So James, what have you been doing to kind of pass the time in our current country worldwide situation?
That's interesting because on campus, we all know kind of what that looks like, but I'm involved in a lot of things outside of campus and my day job. So like I'm involved with a scout troop and a church and a Rotary Club, and trying to help all of those groups move forward with online opportunities. It's great that we have this rich capability on campus that either was pretty good or is now much better because of the emergent situation. But helping those groups get past, what the new normal is and how they're going to move forward is where my time is spent outside of the day job of making sure the clinic's open and that the housing tools are working and so forth.
Awesome. Well, great. And thank you, James, for doing just kind of a short Q&A with me today. I hope you all got to, get to know James a little better. This is being recorded and it'll actually be out on the TKC YouTube channel and on the NASPA channel. So those of you that are watching that didn't get to participate today, if you do have any questions for James or myself, feel free to reach out. Our contact info is on the TKC page, so we can answer any questions, or if you have ideas or concepts that you'd like us to tackle, feel free to reach out there. And really just to wrap up for today, I kind of wanted to just open it up for a chat, questions, thoughts, ideas. Any of you that are here in the Zoom session with us, feel free to unmute yourself, or if you feel more comfortable, you can send a message through the chat or a question. And let's just kind of use this time that we do have together to chat about the TKC. And if you have any ideas or things you want us to tackle or direction for us to go, let us know. And then besides that, we'll be able to get you out of here a little bit early and get you some extra time back on a Friday, which is always a bonus.
Well, Jeremiah, this is Travis Pierce. I just wanted to say thank you for your leadership and hard work over the many years. As long as I've known you, you've really moved the TKC forward. You've always been passionate about technology and the outreach of technology and getting people engaged with technology. You've kind of taken the mystery away from it and made people feel good with it on your campuses where you've been. So I appreciate that and the collegial relationships over the years. So thank you very much for all your hard work. And you have left a great legacy for the NASPA Technology KC.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Wasn't expecting that at all, but I'm excited for what we're able to finally do as a KC. I feel like everything's going to come together and this year and then moving forward with James taking over as chair next year. I think there's some great things that are going to come.
Absolutely.
Oh, hey, folks. My name is Christian Russell, and I'm over at Seattle University. I'm actually in academic affairs. I'm in career engagement. I am new to the KC, so just looking forward to kind of looking at the resources and kind of seeing some of the strategic changes that might be happening in the new year, and also curious to see how language around professional formation and kind of career development support in this new landscape looks like, and how we're relying on old technologies and how we're adapting our current platforms and any other resources that your institutions are looking at partnering with, just to kind of support professional and personal formation kind of during this new landscape that we have. kind of really feeling like those resources are going to be more important than ever. I mean, they were important before. And on the career side, you know, some of the work that I'm doing is how we can really take the loneliness out of the career search and what the support and connection looks like post graduation. So whatever that experience looks like for students in post graduation, just excited to see how the TKC can kind of support some of those programs.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Especially, we're always excited to have new members. And kind of on that note, so one of the emails that'll be coming out shortly from me to the membership is we've always wanted to kind of centralize and have a bank of resources available to everybody, linked on the website. Sadly, with the old content management system, that was a challenge to do. But I will be kind of soliciting links and resources from people that, you know, anything that'll kind of help with technology and the integration throughout the landscape of all, you know, students in higher ed as a whole. I'd like to gather those and get those up on our website, because I know a lot of different universities have some amazing resources they've been sharing with students, with faculty, with staff, and I figured it makes sense for us to showcase some of that work and then kind of create that repository of a lot of those resources so that everybody can easily find them and access them and utilize them how they see fit.
Awesome. Look forward to seeing those.
I saw
Anybody else?
Carolyn, like you had unmuted yourself briefly there. Did you want to maybe chime in and ask some of your questions?
Sorry, was that for me?
Yeah, I saw that you had unmuted yourself and you've posted a couple things in the chat session.
Yeah.
So
Thank
congratulations on being an incoming chair for SCD case.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We'll see how much I appreciate it after we get started. So yeah, and I'm also going to follow up with, how do you say that, Gaurav? I hope I pronounced that right. So we'll have a follow-up discussion later. But one of the things that the Student Career Development KC is looking at is also kind of the crowdsourcing and having some links for resources, whether it's things that we develop or things that already exist. I think, you know, perhaps sharing some of your resources as well. I think career development technology is super important. And I really liked what I heard earlier about maybe trying to reduce the isolation and some of the challenges that, you know, students and professionals as well go through during the job search and all that stuff. So I love everything that I've heard here, and I'm super excited to continue.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we're excited, and I can tell we should have some partnership in the future as well. So we'd love to collaborate for sure across the KCs. Okay, does anybody else have any questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas before we wrap up here? No? Okay, so the kind of the message I want to leave as we wrap this up. So if you have the ability, please share out our open positions. I'd love to get everybody, get these roles filled and get people transitioned in early on as best we can. So we do have those. Again, they are in a blog post that's been shared out. I've got all the positions in there with links to Volunteer Central to make it a little bit easier. I know navigating Volunteer Central sometimes is a little challenging, so I tried to centralize those as best as possible. I'll probably include those on the next email out again to the membership. So if you know of somebody you think would be a great fit, we'd love to get you in. And if you really want to just be a part of the leadership team and not in one of those roles, we can obviously bring in members at large type roles and just get you a part of the conversation. Really, for me, when I started many years ago, it was about the desire and the passion, as Travis had mentioned, that I have for technology and higher education. And I was brought on just as a at-large member to the national leadership team. And from there, I think then I became the webmaster for a brief upon time, and then was the vice chair, and then the chair-elect, and the chair now. So anybody that has the passion for this is who we want to be on the leadership team and help us kind of guide things. It's if you really love this stuff and it is a part of you, that passion and devotion comes out very easily and makes things happen. So if you're interested in any sort of role with the leadership team, reach out to me, reach out through Volunteer Central, and we'd love to have you here. So with that, I want to give everybody back their free time here. Thank you for joining us for our business meeting. Again, I'm sorry that we couldn't get together in Austin. I know myself, I was looking forward to some serious barbecue. And now, I'm stuck in my house in Michigan. Luckily, my propane tank is half full on my grill. So I guess I'm just going to have to roll with that. But otherwise, enjoy your Friday. We're all in this together. I know it's definitely a very confusing time for all of us in higher ed. We don't know how things are going to move. Timelines are shifting. It's definitely a time for us to stay strong together, and then, as always, be there for our students, for our staff, coworkers, faculty, and we'll make it through. So other than that, have a great Friday, and I'll see you all later.